Pop Squat, coming at ya. And by the way, you guys are nuts for Bone Thugs and Harmony. Nuts. Nuts, nuts, nuts. Crazy nuts. Crazy go wacky nuts. Like, I have gotten so many recommendations for Bone Thugs and Harmony songs. Holy crap. A lot of them. And let me tell you, I 100%. Sorry, I'm looking over there because I'm trying to organize something on my screen. 100% a fan. I am. From that first song that we listened to, or that I listened to, you guys obviously know them really well. I'm sold. They were great, and I've listened to some of their stuff on my own just because I found some of their. The music, the style, the flow, like everything they do really is. I mean, it's, you know how good it is. It's super good. I love it. It's fantastic stuff. It is definitely, or they are definitely a new favorite of mine. If you are looking at the screen, no, this way. No, that way. You can see that we are going to be listening to a Tupac song today. So I do know Tupac, not personally, not only because he's dead, but because I didn't know him even when he was alive. But I have certainly heard some of his music. I know he's a talented rapper and creator and artist. I know he also had a really rough time, and obviously was killed. He is definitely. Well, let's look at his page. Let's see what they have to say about him. Tupac Amaru Shakur, which, by the way, is just a fantastic name. I mean, a lot of people get names like mine, John. Boring. Tupac Amaru Shakur? Come on. That is a fantastic name. Born Lassane Parish Crooks. Still, I would take that name. Crooks? Mr. Crooks? I would love that name. Born 1971, so yeah, he's 2 years younger than me. Died in 96. That is just wrong. Better known as Tupac, 2 PAC, and later by his alias Machiavelli. Oh, I hadn't heard that. That's interesting. Was an American rapper and actor, considered one of the most influential rappers of all time. Yeah, absolutely. Shakur is among the best-selling music artists, having sold more than 75 million records worldwide. Much of Shakur's music has been noted for addressing contemporary social issues that plagued inner cities, and is considered a symbol of activism against inequality. Good. That is a good thing. And I know it pissed people off. And guess what? Too bad. And I've said this before on my channel. When you push anyone down enough. What? My cat wants to bite me again. When you push somebody down, whether it's a person or people or a group of people or a people of a certain color of skin or a nationality or whatever, do you know what's going to happen? They're going to get pissed off and they're going to fight you. And we are in kind of a good period of time in that we have the internet, and we have radio stations, and we have theaters, and we have performance arenas and clubs that people who have been pushed down their entire life or had roadblocks put in front of them. It was not as clear for them as it was for somebody like me as a white guy from middle America, cis, straight white guy from middle America. I don't know what it's like to be a black guy. I don't want to know what it's like to be a black guy or a Hispanic guy. That would suck. It would every day would be it would just be that much worse, because everybody, I mean, treats those people badly, and it's ridiculous. I really do try to be like what Martin Luther King Jr. said, and it's a fantastic saying, to judge someone and treat someone based on the content of their character as opposed to the color of their skin. Um, and Tupac, as somebody pointed out in my comments, which I actually hadn't known, was the son of some Black Panthers. Black Panthers, an early, well, in the mid last century, whatever, but early in the civil rights movement, uh, they were the we're pissed off and we're not going to take it anymore arm of oppressed people. I won't even necessarily say black people, like any oppressed people in the United States. And that's going to happen. It's the same thing when we have riots over race and things like that. Riots are literally the language of the oppressed when they have been treated so poorly for so long, or they have uh, the inequalities and inequities of the system thrown back in their faces, like when the riots in Los Angeles in the 90s. Why can't I remember his name? It's so on the tip of my tongue, but I can't think of it right now. He died just a few years ago. Rodney King, when the officers were acquitted in that. Those riots were because it was proof to everyone that there was no justice for a black man beaten to death on the streets by a bunch of cops. And yeah, that's going to happen. And you know what? Fine. That's it should happen, because when people get pissed off, when they do things like that, that's when things change. And I don't know why I'm still talking about this, because I'm sure you guys all know this. And if you're black or Hispanic or Chinese or Japanese or anything not this, you know. And I apologize, because it's ridiculous. Everybody has something to contribute, and everybody has their own life that they're living, and everybody has their own crap they're dealing with, and their own great stuff they're dealing with, and the fact that some people look at somebody's skin and think that that's all there is to them. I can't even. I can't even. I don't even know what to say. Like, it's one of those things that I feel like those people add nothing until they get a clue about the fact that everybody is not the same, but everybody is equal. We all deserve the same respect and the same consideration for our lives. Anyway, I'm not telling you anything you don't already know. So Tupac, absolutely. I think if we talked politics, he and I would probably have gotten along quite well, especially when it comes to race and race relations and everything that's going on, and the inequalities in the system, in the justice system, and institutional racism. And honestly, if you don't think institutional racism exists and you're watching my channel, to go away. Educate yourself. Get a brain. It exists, and it's awful, and it's stupid, and it's unfair, and it just causes so many more problems than it's worth. And it could never be worth it. Anyway, Tupac. Wow, man, where did all that come from? Apparently, I'm pissed off about race, and I'm a white guy. He did a lot of great stuff, a lot of great music, and I've heard some of his music. Can I think of a song off the top of my head? I know if I heard a song by him, I would know it was by him, but I don't know of any titles. And in fact, I was really happy because the songs that you guys had recommended to me included Brenda's Got a Baby, Dear Mama, Letter to My Unborn Child, which I think is what we're going to listen to here, said Shed So Many Tears, and Baby Don't Cry. If you have other recommendations, feel free to send them in. I've got a huge list of songs to go through, but I'm always happy to get recommendations, and I want you to know, if I don't get to a song of yours, even if I say in the comments it's added to the list, it is added to the list. It might take me, well, literally forever because I keep adding more than a single song a day to that list. But I pick out stuff that I think is going to be interesting to me and interesting to you. Um, and I'm not normally going to do a song that I know I've heard before. And so some of the stuff that you've recommended for like Bone Thugs and Harmony, I've started to listen to some of their stuff on my own. So I may not do reactions to some of it because I'll have heard it already. If it's something that I think I really have something interesting to say, I'll do that. Um, but anyway, we're gonna get to Tupac here in a second. I have one other thing to talk about. Um, I've been watching a guy called Mr. L. Boyd, MRL Boyd, who's been doing reactions, I think, for quite a while. He's got a pretty big following, and I like what he does. It's different but similar to me, and he's obviously much more successful at it. He's got a Patreon and he's got tens of thousands of followers and things like that. But the other person I saw today was somebody that I would encourage you to go check out, the Charismatic Voice, and it's a woman, oddly also from Washington, although I'm in Washington, Washington State, not Washington D.C. She's from Washington, but she's now in L.A. and she's a voice coach and an opera singer. So she knows how to use her voice. She knows the language of music. And one of the things that I don't know, one of the things, many of the things that I don't know about music are the particular terms. She was talking about glottal stops, and she was talking about um, how singers shape their mouth to make a sound before a word. She was listening to a Peter Gabriel song, and he was saying the word when or what or something like that. And she pointed out something that I'd heard before and never thought it was actually a thing, but it is, where he started out with a "w," and that's how he pronounces the W at the beginning of this one phrase he's saying in a song. And that's the sort of thing that I hear in music, and I don't know what it is, but it's interesting to me. And if you're like that too, if you hear music and you're like, man, that's really neat. Like one of the things I really enjoy about rapping is when the rapper is particularly skilled and able to express themselves using their words and their voice and their mouth, like everything that's involved there, to do something different. And she knows the language for that. So I encourage you to go check out The Charismatic Voice. She's got a ton of videos. I'm sure she's got some music that you would be interested in hearing. She listens to everything. I watched a video today of her listening to Master of Puppets or Puppet Master. I forget exactly the name. I think it's Master of Puppets from Metallica. And not my cup of tea. I recognize that it's a good song, a very good song, and well written. But she had some really fantastic and interesting things to say, and if you like that sort of thing, go check her out, because she's going to give you an education, and I think it'll be worth listening to, because I absolutely thought it was cool. Really, really neat stuff. Okay, Tupac, if you've stuck around, we're going to listen to a song by him. This was released after his death, and I think I just said he died in 96, and this was a song that he wrote for or to his, I think, daughter, who was going to be born, and he was worried, or he had some idea that maybe he wasn't going to be around when this kid got here, or when she was old enough for him to tell her these things. And again, I think it was a she. From what I read, I might have that confused. But let's give this a listen. I know it's going to be good, because I think this is a subject matter that certainly somebody my age is going to understand, even though I never actually had kids, always wanted them, just didn't happen. And I can see how this song would really touch a lot of people, whether they had kids or not. And just that concern of, I'm not going to be here for you, so I want to try and do what I can to help, to well, in his case, to make the world better, right? To raise awareness about injustice in the world and the way black people and any people of color are treated, especially in America, since that's where we are, he and I, and probably most of you, well, definitely most of you, because I see where everybody watches. So yeah, this is, it's not going to be a light song. It's not, I mean, I assume, it's not going to be necessarily a happy, upbeat song. I think it's going to be something honest and real, and at least I hope so. And I'm really just curious about what he does with it. Like, what's the music going to be like? How is he going to present this? Is it going to be? It's not going to be dark. It's not going to be a downer, but it's not going to be fun. So I'm really curious. This is a. I mean, think about, how do you write a letter to your unborn child and put it to music and turn it into essentially a pop song, right? Like a song that he was popular, so almost anything he made was a pop song. It's a challenge. I mean, that's tough. Especially in 3 minutes and 17 seconds, I want to give my kid some advice, some life lessons in 3 minutes. Yeah, that's tough. So let's jump in here. Like I said, 3 minutes, 17 seconds, Tupac, Letter to My Unborn, or Letter to My Unborn Child. I saw it in both ways. I'm not sure what the actual title is. So let's do it.
To my unborn child. To my unborn child. In case I don't make it. To my daddy born child. Did everything I could do to make it better.
Oh, all right. I've said before, I am a huge percussion fan. I was a drummer in high school. Not good, but I was, and I love drums. That in the background, that's kind of, I don't even know what instrument it is. I don't know if it's a synthesizer, if it is actually like a xylophone, probably a wooden one. Certainly not metal. I guess those would be bells. No, bells are different. But it's something, and it sounds it just has that tone, that like little bit of vibration, and it really is. It's a rich, living sound because it comes from wood. Let's keep going. Love that.
Now ever since my birth, I've been cursed since I'm born to wild. In case I never get to holler at my unborn child. Many things learned in prison, blessed and still living, trying to earn every penny that I'm getting. And reminiscing to the beginning of my mission. When I was conceived and came to be in this position. My mama was the panther loud, single parent, but she growled when she witnessed baby boy rip a crowd to school. But I dropped out and left the house cause my mama say I'm good for nothing. So I'm out since I only got one life to live. God forgive me for my sins, let me make it and I never steal again or live again. My only...
So that's interesting. Starts out basically telling his own story, which I suppose makes sense, right? Like, if somebody's going to sit down and try and school you, educate you, give you some information, it probably makes sense for them to kind of give you their bona fides from the beginning. Like, this is what I went through, this is what I had to put up with, this is what I enjoyed in life, this, everything. I call it a couple of the lyrics. My mom said I was good for nothing. I dropped out of school. Went out on my own, and couldn't have been easy. So this is a guy who knows things. He knows life. He knows how crappy it can be, and he knew how great it could be.
Friend is my misery, wanting revenge for the agony they did to me. See, my life ain't promised, but it sure gets better. Hope you understand my love letter to my unborn child. I'm not saying I'm gonna rule the world.
So he said something there. My life ain't something, but I know it's getting better. That's a really great thing to say in a song to your kid. That's a fantastic thing to say.
Unborn child. I'm not saying I'm gonna rule the world, but I know if I keep talking about how dirty it is out here, somebody gonna clean it up. It's an unborn child. You know I'm still down for the underdog, and I know that seems real funny because everybody is saying that these days. So complicated to escape fate, and you can never understand to betray places. Tell the world I feel guilty to being anxious. Ain't no way in hell that I could ever be a rapist. Son to face this cold world on a good day. When will they let the little kids in the hood play? I got shot 5 times, but I'm still breathing. Living proof there's a God if you need a reason. And I believe in my own faith. Will I raise my kids in the right or the wrong way? Dear mama, I'm a man now. I wanna make it on my own, not a handout. Make way for the whirlwind prophesy.
I want to make it on my own, not a handout. Also, super great advice. Sometimes you need a hand. Absolutely. Everybody does. I think there should be more of a safety net, especially in America. We have a ton of resources, and sometimes you have to take advantage of that. Not take advantage. You have to fall back on that. But everybody, I think, really wants to, well, they want to have a life that they enjoy, right? They want to be able to contribute something, and they want to get something back for it. And if that means for a while you got to work in a gas station, and yes, I'm thinking about working at a gas station, sometimes you just got to do that. And hopefully things are going to get better, but you want to contribute. You want to make the world a better place. And this is a guy who, even though he had his own issues, he ended up getting killed in a feud, he still recognized that he wanted to make the world a better place, change it, throw this garbage that he had to deal with every day back in other people's faces. And like he said, root for the underdog, root for the people who are disadvantaged, not because they aren't capable, but because everything else is stacked against them.
I wanna go in peace when I gotta die on these cold streets. Ain't no love, no mercy, and no friends. In case you never see my face, I wanna distinguish myself. I believe that I'm a natural born leader. To my unborn child. To my unborn child. To my unborn child. Dear Lord, can you hear me? Tell me what.
All right, I just got to go back to that picture of him in the, what is that, a do-rag, I think it's called. That is just a fantastic picture. That is a happy guy, and that is a fantastic picture.
Dear Lord, can you hear me? Tell me what to say to my unborn seed. In case I pass away, will my child get to feel love? Or we all just cursed to be street thugs? Cause being black hurts, and even worse if you speak first. Living my life as an outlaw, what could be worse? Cause maybe if I tried to change who I'm kidding, I'm a thug till I die. I'm a ride and man, touch bases, eat lunch at plush places. Regular criminal oasis awaits us. If there's a ghetto for true thugs, I see you there. And I'm sorry for not being.
Well, I can take orders because I'm a good soldier. I like to give orders.
All my little girls, to the Lord I'm eternal. Rest in the peace, take care of all my seeds and my unborn child. To my unborn child. Please take care of all my kids, my unborn child. To my unborn child. Follow the rules of the game. Sometimes it's confusing. The rules of the game is gonna get you through it all day, every day. Watch out for these snakes and fakes. Shit's coming down the way.
Yeah, interesting. I actually want a whole lot more of that. I would love to hear even more from him about this, on this subject. And I'm sure it's in however many other songs he's got out there, and add all that stuff up together. I'm sure there's some really good experiences and good advice. Now the song itself, it's not a song that he's showing off on. He's not doing anything fancy with his voice. He's not doing the like any fast rapping or fancy stops or pronunciation, or he's not trying to show off, right? This is just a very straightforward song, and it's presented that way. You can hear him clearly. It's produced well. He's obviously very audible in front of the music. The music itself is great, just has a nice feeling. I love that. It's just a fantastic sound. Really a good song, and I think a lot of people hear Tupac and they think, well, let's see, let's go into my absolutely completely uninformed part of my brain about Tupac, and what I think people would think who know nothing about him is that he was a militant, violent black guy from the inner city who got killed for a stupid reason, right? Because he was young and he was having a fight with somebody else. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter who or what. I think that's what a lot of people think when they hear Tupac. And he's clearly way more than that. Way more than that. He was a smart guy. He knew what was going on. He'd lived a life. And in 25 years, he lived a seriously rough life. And a seriously awesome life, I bet, too. And he was musically talented. He knew what he was doing. He knew how to make music. He knew how to write. And I write. I was an English major and a creative writing major, and I write as a copywriter, and I write for my own stuff, and I've written commercially for like Dungeons and Dragons and other companies and DC Comics, and so writing is not easy, and you have to have something to say if you're going to be someone like him, who's an artist creating really for himself. He has to have a perspective. He has to have a message. He has to have something he wants to say, and he did, absolutely, and he does to this day, because he still exists, because his music still exists, and people still like it, and they still listen to it, and they're gonna I'm gonna say, forever. There will always be some of his music around, and that's incredible. And if I said yesterday when we were watching the video Lazy Bone, if you're an artist and you're making music and you're making videos, you've got to have a perspective. You've got to have an opinion that is not only something you believe in, but speaks to other people. And he had that. He absolutely had that. And it wasn't just, I'm a black guy and I'm pissed off. That was not his message, and I think a lot of people think that was his message. He was very much, all of my opinion, completely my opinion, what I see in him as a creator, in his music, what I know of him from the very little that I do, he was a guy who wanted life to be different for everyone else than it was for him, because he had to deal with not good things in his life, and he recognized that a lot of that was not necessarily his fault, that from birth, even before birth, he had obstacles in his way placed there by other people, and he called that out, and he called bullshit, basically, and he's right to do that, and it was a message that resonates with a lot of people. So yeah, this is a good song. It's not my favorite song ever. It's probably not even my favorite song by him. I'm sure I've heard other songs by him that I like more, but this is I think it's a good first song to listen to. Because it's not a song that probably would have gotten a whole lot of radio play, even if I had a radio station back then to listen to his stuff. But yeah, I like it. And I can't imagine I won't like even more of his music. Just because his style is so solid, I guess is what I'd say. Like, he knows what he wants to say, and he's going to say it. And yeah, I'm looking forward to hearing more. So if you have, like, hey, this is #1 Tupac song, let me know. because I'd love to hear it. And maybe I've heard it already, but even so, I don't know it well enough that I wouldn't react to it on the channel. I'll say that. I think almost anything by him, if I've heard his music, it was like on MTV back in the day, or it was on somebody else's radio. Certainly wouldn't have been on mine. So yeah, I would love to hear what you guys think is this is the song, or these are the top 3 songs to listen to really get his what? I guess I'd want his perspective, which we're gonna get regardless. So I guess ignore that. The best song for his message that he's trying to get across, and the best song, and it could be the same song, for his rapping and for his the music, the actual sounds that we're hearing that are not his voice. I would love to hear what you guys think kind of falls into that category. And I'm sure I'm going to get a billion recommendations, but if I see some duplicates on lists, those are the ones I'm going to go for. Yeah, there you go. What do you know? I like Tupac. One of the greatest rappers of all time. And it shouldn't be surprising that I like it, because quality is quality, right? There you go. I hope you're having a good day. This was a really long one. I'm sorry for that. I don't usually go on for that long, but for some reason, well, it's Tupac, so he had a message. And yeah, thanks very much. I appreciate it. My hand is like way over here, and you can't see that, but I'm doing this. Thank you very much. Yeah, that's it. Papa Squat. Checking out. I will remind you once again to like, subscribe, and share, but also to check out The Charismatic Voice. Really super interesting stuff. Really enjoyed it. Have yourself a good day. Good night.